typing. Good evening. My name is Deb Drick. I'm the chair of the Livingston County Republican Party, and welcome to The Right Side. That would be the July 8th version. Just going to type a little statement here so I can post it. If you don't see your comment, generally I hover over the comments and they come up on the screen. If you don't see them, if you type something and you don't see it, you might want to watch from our Facebook page. Oops. Okay. So I'm just going to post this up there and anybody can see it there. There we go. Okay, here we go. Wow, it's by everybody and their brother. Okay. we hooked through Rob, we hooked through The Right Side, and we hooked through Livingston County Republican Party. So when I post something, apparently it comes from all three. So anyway, so welcome. Looking forward to a interesting chat. Today I want to post one more thing in there in this comment section. Today's podcast will be a discussion about being a Republican. So let me post this in here. This is the podcast. Oops, rats. Let's try this again. This is the podcast that you want to share with conservative friends who aren't involved. Because that's what this is going to be about today. It's going to be about what the right side is, what the Republicans are, what involvement is there, what involvement should there be, what involvement can there be. So I'm hoping to have a live discussion between myself and anybody that chimes in. So please make sure that you're check in with me here, post something in the comments so I know you're there. And if you can't, if I don't, like right now, see, I can hover there and I can show you what's there. So if your comment doesn't show up after a few minutes, give me a minute. I don't just rush to it, but give me a couple minutes. If I don't put your comment on there, it generally means that I don't see it. Some of the platforms don't allow the comments, but if you go to the Livingston County Republican Party Facebook, it's a public page, Livingston County Republican Party, and you can watch. If you click that link, you can interact with me, which I'm really looking forward to some conversation. Looking forward to hearing what people think, what Republicans think, what independents think, about our party, about what should happen, about what shouldn't happen, what we need, what we're doing wrong, what we're doing right, what we should do better, what we could do better. So anybody that wants to start, I guess I want to start off by talking about what a Republican is. Oh my goodness, Ron Gillard. Ron Gillard is talking no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, America First. The land of the free because of the brave. Okay, that's a great statement, and I heard Ron say that approximately 1,100 times at two parades over the weekend. So he's got that down. He's got that down pat. Ron, thanks for chiming in. But I now see Ron, so Ron now knows. Here, I'll put this here. Ron now knows I see him, so this is good news. All right, so what is a Republican? A Republican is, okay, Tracy, no property tax. Gee, Tracy, I wonder what you're promoting tonight. These are things that, okay, let's talk about what a Republican is. A Republican is somebody who believes in less government, who believes in lower taxes because of less government, who believes in more personal responsibility, believes in free market, and believes in the Constitution and believes in the personal rights of the individual. They believe they don't believe that the government should have as much input into your life or as very little as possible. They believe people should take the responsibility on themselves. Democrats, on the other hand, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, Democrats believe in bigger government. They believe people should be taken care of by the government. They believe the government exists to help take care of people, to make sure people's needs are met. Okay, I get it. It's not it's not a successful way in my opinion, but it's what they believe. So that's just fine. They believe in bigger government. That if you go to Democrat areas, they have a lot of government. They have a lot of services. They have higher taxes that pay for this. So uh, governments believe, it has no problem taxing people, and most Democrats believe that they don't mind paying more taxes because they feel they're getting more services for it. So okay, that's how they believe. That's how they believe. They want bigger government because more people can be helped with bigger, more needs can be met with bigger government. So that's the way they're doing that. So they kind of everybody. I mean, Republicans and Democrats sort of want the same thing. I mean, they want people taken care of. It's just a matter of how they go about it. They're different paths, and they clash. That's why Republicans will want to tax the rich all the time and then give to uh, uh, they tax businesses. They put regulations on businesses, and they want bigger government to take care of more people. Um, Republicans want people to take care of themselves, or they want people to be able to be self-sufficient. So if a Republican gives a tax cut or a tax credit, they tend to try to take care of the businesses because they believe the businesses the businesses will take care of people. Or I'm sorry, the businesses will help people take care of themselves. So if a Republican gives a tax cut to a industry or an economic segment, they believe that jobs will increase, wages will increase, benefits will increase, so people are better off taking care of themselves with that. So that's why you'll see businesses give what the Democrats yell and call it corporate welfare, whereas Democrats will tend to give individual welfare. So I don't know that. I don't know that corporate welfare is a welfare. It's just a tax cut in order to provide more money for the corporation to then provide money to the individuals in wages and benefits. So we have Ron Glard again says Republicans believe the law and order. Yes, they do. They support the police. Whereas there's more. Believe in law and order, and a lot of the Democrats believe defund the police. Many of them they do, and and I don't know the logic behind that. I don't think that defunding the police, in one hand, think about that for a minute. In one hand, Democrats like bigger government, but they want to defund the police. That doesn't make sense. I know that they are uber concerned about individual protection to the point of, I think, overkill. I don't think people should be bullied. I don't think uh, police should be able to beat up on people. I don't believe you should be picked on in any way, shape, or form for your sexual preferences or your dress. But I don't believe that we have to have extra protections for these things either. They're already in the law, and the law just needs to be enforced as far as I'm concerned. So that's kind of how that works, in my opinion. So the only thing I can think of is by defunding the police, they are saying to people, well, we support victims. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but then I'm not a Democrat, so I don't know. Anyway, but republicanism is really those things. It's that lesser government. It's self-responsibility. It's free market, and it's pro-business and pro-constitution. So what is it we could do to do more of that? I know the first thing we need to do is really kind of get rid of some rumors in order to really beef up our membership and our understanding of what Republicans are, because there's a lot of falsehoods spread. The media is terrible about that. That's one of the reasons this podcast exists, because the podcast, it exists because the media spreads all kinds of garbage, and it's hard to rein it in. You can't argue with the media, so the only thing you can do is start your own. we recently congratulated ourselves. I got the word from Rob that we surpassed 20,000 views in the few months that we've been on. So that is a wonderful thing. I thank every one of you for doing that, for sharing the word, for spreading the word. Um, so that helps get the word out. That helps our viewership. I know a lot of people like to sit and watch and not comment. That's okay. You don't have to comment. I know people uh, watch a little bit of it and then will watch the recording the next day or listen to the recording on the way to work. That's fine too. But our podcasts lots of times now are getting 3 to 5,000 views within a couple of weeks of airing. So I'm just real happy with this. Very happy. So back to the what a Republican is, though. Let's talk about what a Republican isn't. We have our fringe issues, I guess that we call them, that we tend to tag along with. Republicans tend to be pro-life. They don't have to be pro-life. It's not part of a Republican platform. They tend to be. They tend to be pro-gun, pro 2A. You don't have to be you don't have to fully believe in 100% gun rights. You can believe in some restrictions. It doesn't mean you're not a Republican. It just means you have a different fringe issue. Marijuana, same-sex marriage, all those things used to be fringe issues. They're all in the Constitution, they're all in the Constitution now. They're not even an issue anymore. I should say that about abortion as well, because that's also in the Constitution. It's a non-issue. It doesn't matter what anybody believes until that, if and until that ever goes in front of the people again and it gets voted down, it will be in the Constitution. So it will absolutely be there, and it's going to stay there. So talking about it or running on that doesn't help anybody anymore. It's a dead deal. That's all there is to it. So all those fringe issues, I think a lot of people tell me that they don't want to get involved with the Republicans because they feel like the fringe issues that they don't agree with are going to stop them or will get them ostracized or make them feel separate. And the message I want to send to anybody that sees this now or sees this later is that none of us all believe the same thing, and it's okay. We don't march in line. We're not little Hitler soldiers that all stand in the same line, and never mind what the Democrats how they try to paint us. They simply, we all accept that everybody's a little different and it's okay. So if you feel like you're mostly Republican, but there's a couple things you don't agree with, okay, we don't need to fight about them, and we don't need to just debate them. I mean, you can have your opinion and so can everybody else, and that's just fine. We have a rule that everybody's welcome at the table, and leave your drama at the door. So whether you believe a little or you believe a lot, it's just fine. Ron Gallardtree, what on earth does that mean? I don't know what the Ron Gallardtree means. Randy, you're gonna have to be a little bit more specific. So anyway, what is a Republican? If somebody believes in less taxes, less government, more personal responsibility, the Constitution, so balanced budgets. That's what we are. Now, there are a lot of closet Republicans out there. At least that's what I call them, closet Republicans. They're conservative. They believe in the stuff that the conservatives are doing. But I know this. There are a great deal of very, very woke Democrats. And woke Democrats can get loud, belligerent, they can attack. We've all seen, I think, the Facebook reels or the Instagram reels about the people on the airlines that attack the guy next to them because they're wearing a MAGA hat or something, or the people that attack the signs. You think that that's made up, or you think that that's only on Instagram, but I'm here to tell you, and there will be some people that will show up that will vouch for it. The Livingston County Republican Party had two were in 2 parades last Friday for Independence Day, and it was a blast. And anybody that didn't get to come, I just encourage you to come next time. We had a blast. We did Gregory in the morning and we did Fowlerville in the evening, and it was, a noon and 7 o'clock parade. So we had a great time. But while in Fowlerville, we were mostly thumbs up, applause, cheers, and understand that we've got, every major candidate, or as many candidates as we could fit on our, their signs on our floats. And we had people walking, carrying the banners, we had Ron Gillard was up there waving the, Trump Golden Age flag. He was kind of heading us off, and we just, and I was on the float itself singing God Bless the USA by Lee Greenwood. I've sang that 1,100 times over that day. I'm not ready to sing that for a while, but we had people cheering, singing along, hooting, hollering, thumbs up, all kinds of stuff. Every once in a while we got a boo from, a Democrat. That's fine, just, but we had one woman absolutely lose it on us. And Ron was walking and he was waving the Golden Age, and she began yelling about how we're all in a cult, and we're in a cult, and people were going to lose their health insurance because of us, and they were going to lose their benefits because of us, and they were going to lose their money and their lives because of us, and we just kept going, and we didn't react to her and kept going, and she got louder and louder as we started to kind of pass her, and then out came the F-bombs, and she was F, and it went from yelling to screaming to screeching. And when I say screeching, I mean the the hoarse voice, the whole bit, and it was F you, and it was not abbreviated. It was loud as she could. And this is at a parade, and I am singing, and I kind of turned and looked at the women that were sitting kind of near her in the thing, and they were all just, everybody was shocked. And finally some men from this on Grand River, across the other side of Grand River, just told her, shut up, there are kids everywhere. I mean, they yelled at her, shut up, knock it off, there's kids listening to this terrible language. So I get the closet Democrats, they don't want to deal with that. People by nature are non-confrontational. And okay, let me get here. Randy, the victory's in the V. The victory is in the middle. Yes, okay. So it's tough to, when you're in an area, if you're not confrontational, it's tough to say I'm a Republican to a bunch of Democrats. You don't know exactly how woke they are. Are they going to start screaming at you? Are they going to start spitting at you? Are they going to rip your hat off your head? What are they going to do? Are they ostracize you out of your neighborhood parties? I don't know. But I think there are enough people out there like that becoming talking about being a Republican can be scary. Sometimes it's our own families. They don't, our families are concerned with, or people are concerned about their families' reactions. So it's not a easy thing for some people to say that I'm conservative amongst a bunch of people who are not. That can be a scary thing. So I get that. I totally get it. And but on the other hand, I have to say this. In 2023, we had a bunch of, the woke people were just in big, loud, nice and loud. And so a lot of people just hushed up, and a lot of Republicans, a lot of conservatives stayed quiet. They stayed home, and they figured their contribution would be their one vote. It wasn't enough. And because people didn't step up, or enough people didn't step up, we went totally dumb for 2 years. Now, that's not as bad as totally dumb for 4 years, but those were some of the longest 2 years legislatively we've ever lived in Michigan. And it was awful. I mean, if you were paying attention, so many crazy bills got passed. So many of them. People, got the boys and the girls sports things. That just suddenly became okay. All kinds of vilifying actions if you behaved some way against somebody they didn't think you should. the taxes, the changes. There were so many, many bad laws. Feel free to start typing some of them in, but they were crazy. And this state went right down the tubes for 2 years. All the hard work. 8 years, Rick Snyder was in the governor, and we had the House and the Senate. We got so much done. We got bills paid off. We got debt paid. We had a rainy day fund. We had all this stuff. 2 years with the Dems, the rainy day fund was gone, and the budget blew up. Just blew up. It went absolutely crazy. And what happened? So the gas price went up. The fix the damn roads, that was not free. Not that they're fixed now. They're kind of all being worked on now. So having Dems even for those 2 years messed stuff up. And the problem is we did get the House back, so having the House stopped any more craziness, but we still have 2 more years before we can, or a year and a half now, before we could possibly move forward with anything, because the House is still Democrat and so is the governor. So it doesn't matter what we do in the House, they'll block us. They can't do any more damage because we'll block them. But either way, we absolutely need to win the House again next year, and we, for God's sakes, need to win the Senate and the gubernatorial race. So I guess I'm calling on everybody right now. There are lots of governor candidates out there. I don't know who's going to stick this out. I don't know who. I mean, everybody kind of is jumping in early, which is okay. But I don't know how many people are going to stick it out. But I am saying this: whoever wins that primary, we cannot afford sore losers. Too many sore losers in 2023 hurt us bad. Hurt us very bad. Hi, Greg. So but it hurt us bad. So no matter who the winner is of those primaries, gubernatorial, Congress, of course, I don't think we have a congressional primary. So, but U.S. Senate, it doesn't matter. We have to get behind our winner. We cannot afford. We have to keep Donald Trump. We has to have his majority in the House and Senate. So we have to all get behind. It doesn't matter. You like your Senate candidate, you like your U.S. Senate or your House Senate. Doesn't matter. You got to get behind them. We need to get majority. I think we talked once before about how important majority is. If you don't have majority, you get nothing. 0, 0, 0. So let's just make sure we have it. That's how to do it. So now back to what I call the closet Republicans, the Republicans that want to help out, but they don't want to be in the middle of a big screaming match. Gotcha. Understand. Won't let that happen if that's what you want. Greg, you got a comment up there. Don't go away because we're going to address that one. So, but as far as how you can help, how can you help? All right. Without getting into that, without, publicly waving your Trump flag on your front porch where your neighbors are going to go absolutely crazy. So there are different ways. The first way is if you don't have the time or the physical presence to do things because of whatever your time schedule is or your situation where you don't want to be front and present out speaking, in front of people. The best thing you can do is donate. Everything we do, we work all the time to get Republican candidates elected. That takes money. So donating to this party, if you do nothing else, that alone will help, because every single time we make $1, we put it aside, and then next year we will be funding candidates all over the place, trying to get, funding not just candidates, but doing mailings, coming up with voter guides, coming up with all this stuff that helps people understand who to vote for. So, and that is after the primary. So whoever that primary winner is, we get behind, because that's what we have to do. And if there's no primary, we get behind them earlier because we need to beat the Democrat. So, that donating, joining, just becoming a member, even if you don't come to meetings, even if you don't come to things, just become a member. Again, that money goes toward things that we do that it makes this stuff happen. Buy an ad. There's ads. We sell ads for $25 a podcast. That's not bad. $100 buys you a month, and we play them once or twice during each podcast. So buy an ad. That helps. That little bit helps, and you get an advertisement for whatever else you want. I have an ongoing advertiser that has an ongoing ad with me, but he doesn't put his business on. He chose his church or a Christian organization. We do that instead. That's fine. You can buy an ad and you can promote your business, you can promote your church, you can promote your PTO, you can promote whatever it is you want. It's an ad. You bought the space, you get to pick what's on it. So that's another way you can help. Refer a friend to be a member. If you're going to be a member, grab a friend, become a member with that friend, and do things with that person. You can join a committee. You don't have to be in the front. If you don't want to be in the front line, join a committee. We have dinners, we have parties, we have little get-togethers. We have all kinds of stuff that you can do. Again, you don't have to be in that front line. You don't have to face down a bunch of, we have people that will face down the woke Democrats. We're not worried about that. We don't need you if you want to do that, great, come on, join us. But if that's not your thing, that's okay. We've got other people that can do that. We also could have you help a candidate. There are ways to quietly help candidates. Help a candidate at a fundraiser. We always need people that will set up and decorate for a fundraiser. We need people that will take money at a fundraiser, like take money or get people to sign up stuff. We have lots and lots of events. We have dinners. We have breakfasts. You can just come to one of our breakfasts or one of our dinners. It's a quiet thing. We always have a good time. We have once in a while, we have chat with the chair at the Livingston County Republican Party. Love for you to come out here. It's in a private room. We sit and talk at a round table and come up with all kinds of ideas. So there are lots and lots of ways, and there's ways we're not even thinking of, or I'm not thinking of right now. I had one lady call me and say, I don't knock doors, I don't make phone calls, I don't even really talk to a lot of people. Is there a way I can help? How are you at research? She said, great, there you go. So every once in a while I'll call her and I'll say, hey, can you get this? Can you look up how many times X has happened in the last 3 years? Yep. And then I get a report. This is perfect. This is exactly perfect. So we'll find ways for you to help in a way that helps you, or that suits your personality, that suits your time frame. But just let me know if you have if you got something on your mind about Republicans, or if you have questions. Always, please reach out to me. I'm pretty approachable. I'm no different in person than I am on here. You can reach me at chair@Livingston Republicans, plural with an S, livingstonrepublicans.com. That's just fine. Just reach out to me there. You can reach out to me on Facebook. You can catch me in the Livingston County Republican page. Lots of ways to reach me, but just let me know if you want to, just what your thoughts are. All right, Greg, I'm gonna address this because I know you said this before. So let's talk about rhinos, okay? Rhinos are Republicans in name only. That is what a rhino is for anybody that might be watching or might be watching in the future that doesn't know what that is. Republicans in name only. That is a Democrat that runs as a Republican because they are in a place a Democrat doesn't have a chance in heck to get elected. So they run under Republican, but they're really a Democrat. We've had those before. We've had a couple of them. But the word rhino is used too often to mean interchangeably with a statement that should be not conservative enough for me. That's what I love people to start saying, because lots of times the word rhino or the term rhino gets applied to somebody that just isn't super far right, and that's okay. They're still a Republican. But what is really, really, really important to know, let me bring up a slide here. Yep, this is the one. So this is something I did a long time ago. So when we talk about either the House or the Senate, let's talk about either one. In the State House right now, we have the Senate Majority Leader, okay, is the head of the Senate. And that's true in the U.S. Senate as well, not just Michigan. But the Senate Majority Leader is the guy that sets the agenda, okay? Full control. You have a floor leader that chooses all the policy, and you have the appropriations chair that works with all the funding, right? Now in Michigan right now, you can see everything's blue because that's a Democrat. Now over here in the House, I see everything's red because we have our speaker, the Speaker of the House, and this is both in the state House as well as the Congressional House, U.S. Congressional House. The Speaker of the House has full control, sets the agenda. If the Speaker doesn't want it done, the Speaker won't allow it done, okay? This between the Speaker and the, wrong way. Between the Senate Majority Leader and the Speaker, they decide everything, okay? If your House representative is a huge supporter of 2A, but the Speaker, no, let's go the other way around. If your House Republican representative is not a 2A guy, okay, let's just say doesn't believe in 2A at all right, but the Speaker is 2A, a supporter of 2A, it doesn't matter that your House rep isn't, because the Speaker will never let it happen. Okay, never let anything anti-2A get on there. If the Speaker is pro-life, only pro-life stuff will happen. Doesn't matter if your rep is pro-choice. The Speaker picks everything. Same with the Senate Majority Leader in the Senate. This guy right here chooses everything. Now, this is also in the U.S. Senate. All right, so let's talk about, but this guy gets voted on if they're in majority. If right now the Dems are in majority, and the Dems, because they're in majority, they got to pick the Senate Majority Leader. Therefore, it's their agenda that gets pushed. Ours doesn't matter because we didn't win majority. So when I hear no rhinos, what I'm hearing is I'm not going to vote for a primary winner that I believe is a rhino. And when that happens, we get Democrats in the majority. Let's just say our U.S. Senate candidate was just Joe Blow. Joe Blow is very moderate Republican. All right, not and hardcore Republicans may say, well, he's a rhino. No, he's a moderate Republican. And you want to know how we know he's going to be Republican? Because if his vote or his win gives us the majority, then he is going to vote for a Republican speaker or a Republican speaker, Senate Majority Leader. We need our Republicans to win. Any Republican, even if the Republican that wins doesn't have the same beliefs you do, chances are the Speaker of the House or the Senate Majority Leader will. And it doesn't matter if you're hardcore pro-life or pro-gun and your representative or your senator isn't, because the Speaker will be. And there will never be a vote that'll be different than you. So I cannot stress enough that it is super, super important for us to absolutely support whatever Republican, even if our Republican, even if he goes in and the only thing he does, if it's a 49-49 split and we don't have enough people for our Republican to win, and a Democrat gets 50-49, Democrats have majority for 2 to 4 years, making all those crazy laws again. It doesn't matter what our Republican is. If our Republican pushes Republicans in majority, then the Speaker or the Senate Majority Leader will have all the control. That's what Greg, I want you to understand that. So when I know that there's Republicans candidates out there that you're not happy with, and you don't want to vote for them in a primary, by golly, that is your right, and I support that 100%. But once whatever candidate wins that primary, love them or hate them, you gotta vote for them and you gotta support them, because we need to get control. The people that said, I'm not voting for a rhino, I'm not voting for someone I don't like, gave us 2 years of Democrat control. because they didn't support them and we didn't get majority. The most important thing we get is not our candidate, not our candidate. That's not the important thing. The most important thing we can do is get majority. And I've said this in person, I've said this on the show before. It is vital because we can't, and we have to have the governor. Because if we don't have the governor, now here, we got a whole boatload of gubernatorial candidates out there. We have some that are more conservative than others. Everybody has their favorites. That's just fine. It doesn't. That's what a primary is for. But we have to support whoever our candidate is, because if not, we're going to end up with Governor Jocelyn Benson. And I will tell you something. There will never have been a governor worse in Michigan. Not Whitmer and not Granholm. Will suddenly be hold my beer to Jocelyn Benson. Well, that's what her line will be. Hold my beer. Oh my God, it would be horrible. And Duggan's no better. So there we go. If we have one of those two because we didn't get behind a candidate because we felt they weren't conservative or not, then that's our fault. That's on us. So I get what you're saying. It stinks when the candidate you think would have done the best job didn't win, but no matter what, line up behind that Republican, because even if all he does or she does is vote for the Senate Majority Leader or the Senate and they get the majority, it's over. That's all we need them to do. After that, it's no fun. It's no fun if they're not voting for the things we want. But with a Senate Majority Leader, that's the guy that's going to do it all. So anyway, that's a big statement. It's a long-winded statement, but it's an important point that I feel like we have to make. Otherwise we're in trouble. We're going to go back to those 2 years again, and Michigan cannot take another 2 years like we had. So no matter who it is that wins that primary, get behind them, please. Please, please, please. You'll be glad you did. All right, so let's talk about the podcast for a minute. Tell me some things. Tell me what. But once again, too, if you don't see, like right now, I'm showing when I see a statement on the side here. I see a statement. I will be highlighting them. If you're putting things there and I have not highlighted you, it means I can't see you. That means there's nothing there. So if you don't see it, leave and come back through the Livingston County Republican Party Facebook page, and that seems to be working. It seems to be the comments are posting okay, so make sure you do that. But let's talk about this podcast. Is there either tell me now or shoot me an email? What do you think we need to do on this podcast? What other things? I am working to put together a school board package. Let me kind of slip that out. I'm working with local current and former school board members to do a series. I'm hoping 8 to 12 weeks, somewhere in there, where every single week we talk about another issue with schools. Schools have always been a Republican sore spot because too many times things tend to go liberal, but never in my life have I ever seen things so crazy. We're starting to pull it back. Getting our Republican House has helped. We have been able to pass some legislation, and then of course federally, that's saved our lives as far as the boys and girls sports, the boys and girls bathrooms, the he, she, it, they, them, whatever, pronouns that were crazy, all that stuff just got out of control. But schools have always kind of been something that's been a little bit out of our reach, or it's been hard to even fight for one. So never in my life have I seen things so nuts. Now, as I said, even though we're getting some of it back, a lot of things in school boards are done under the radar, where even board members sometimes don't know about it, or by the time they find out about it, it's too late. Not all school administrations, but many school administrations are very skilled at hiding things from people. They don't want to know about what's going on. So we're going to talk about that with board members. We're going to talk about some of the issues. When I did a brainstorming for topics with them on a Zoom here a few days ago, I was shocked at how much there was, at how much people wanted to, how many different issues were going on and things that I didn't know of. So it's not all flamethrowers and bombs, but it's interesting stuff and stuff that you never would have thought of. So there's going to be some great school board stuff coming up, and it's going to be about schools and the issues they face. So that'll be like the 8 o'clock piece of several of the upcoming things. So what else in the podcast should we be doing? I'm trying to start my gubernatorial series. We have next week, not gubernatorial, but next week we have Representative Gina Johnson, who covers, I think, some Ingham, some Eaton, some Barry, and some Kent. In that area, maybe, somewhere in there. She has a kind of a broad district, and it covers a little bit of everybody. Maybe even a little Ionia. I don't remember. Maybe it's not Ingham, maybe it's Ionia, but it's generally in that area. And she is very conservative, and she's very intelligent. I've known her for a long time. She's very personable. She believes in transparency. She truly, what I love about her is she's a Christian, and she truly believes in what she says and what she does. So she doesn't send a false message or tell you what you want to hear or tell you what she thinks you want to hear. She speaks from the heart, and what she does, she believes in. So I think it's very important to highlight her and to hear what she has to say. So she'll be on the show next week. And then after that, we start our statewide gubernatorial candidates with Mike Cox on July 29th. So we have I think we have a week in between there that we'll be doing something, probably the school board. So anyway, think about some things you want to talk about, or you want to discuss, or you think ought to change or whatever. Before we started tonight, I tripped over a cord and knocked the camera out, so the camera is all askew, and I had to of course I did it at like 2 minutes to 7, so the camera is all askew. So I'm going to go on commercial here, and then I'm going to try and fix that camera. So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Ready to make your real estate dreams a reality? Meet Lisa R., your trusted expert in Livingston County. With 25 years in the real estate marketplace, she offers a seamless, stress-free experience. As a Real Estate One agent, Lisa has access to a network of over 2,000 agents and a one-stop shop for mortgage, title, and insurance services. Call Lisa R. at 734-260-7277 or visit her at Real Estate One in Brighton. Let her help you find your dream home or sell your property with confidence.
John Adams warned that the Constitution is wholly inadequate without a moral and religious people. As conservatives, we must reclaim the faith that shaped it, rooted in Jesus Christ and the Bible. To help you understand the historic Christianity that our country was founded on, check out theexaltedchrist.com, a resource website proclaiming Christ as King.
Whoops. All right, we're live again. I think I tripped over something again. All right, I think the camera's a little better now. I don't feel like I'm looking off to the side. So anyway, well, I will. I was just waiting I did tell Anthony I would have him on the podcast. I will, like I said, I'm trying to get my lineup started. So I just now started putting that on. So yes, I have been in contact with Anthony, and yes, I'm going to have him on the podcast. So, he is a very interesting character, and he has a lot to say, and we'll give him all the time he wants to say it. So, absolutely, we will. Thanks, Tracy, for that ask. So, anyway, so back to the podcast. So, we're looking. This is the opportunity to really address some good Republican topics in a way that is very supportive. I think I've said it before. The Democrats are the ones who attack the Republicans. We don't do that here. So we never attack another Republican here. And we respect everybody's rights to believe who they about what they want and to support who they want. But we don't ever attack them here. That's not our purpose for this show. Um, Also, one of the things I would love to do is if somebody wants to start doing some writing. I keep going after Ron Gillard, but I would love to have. We have the Right Side News um, online news, and it's therightside.news.com. It's easy to find, but it is about it's the podcast, but it's in writing. So I do some articles. I have legislators do some articles, but I'm looking for people that want to write something. So if you have a topic that you want to discuss, or that you want to talk about the big beautiful bill, you want to talk about something you saw on television, you want to kind of or on a reel, and you want to kind of discuss it, you want to debate something, put it in writing. We'll publish it. So make sure you get that to me. Again, that one you can send to contact at the Right Side News, all one word, contact at therightside.news.com, and we'll publish it as long as it's not offensive. We will not attack other Republicans. Just remember that. We get enough with that with the Democrat news. We're not going to do that. So let me know what you want to be on a podcast. You want to run for office? Let me know. I have trainings every so often. Our trainings are very thorough and they're very helpful. The candidates that followed our plan won. So I am very excited about that. I also want to announce that Michelle Blondil, I want to praise her name. She has stepped up and she has taken over the Reagan Day dinner planning. And we are currently looking at some rural area barns. And we're looking to do, we decided that we're not going to do another rubber chicken dinner for a while. Not to say that they're not delicious from Crystal Garden, they are, but we've done the same thing so long. I know that we did our Lincoln Day dinner and we had tacos. We had a little taco bar. And so many people were so excited. They weren't getting the chicken and potatoes and vegetables and that sort of thing. So we decided, what? People seem to like different things. So we're going to do something different. We're going to try and do a barn. We're going to do some pulled pork and some roast chicken, like chicken wings and thighs, kind of barbecue chicken, or grilled chicken, I guess I should say. And we're going to have macaroni and cheese, beans, cornbread, that kind of thing, and whatever our desserts are. And we're going to have two different sets of kind of entertainment. We're going to have a square dance caller, and we're going to make it a beginner. So for a beginner, so they'll walk us through some. So we'll do a little square dancing, not tons of it, but a little bit of it. And it's fun. You don't have to show up with a partner. You can pick one there, or actually, this would be the kind of thing that'd be fun to just watch. We're also going to do some line dancing. So it'll be country western theme. Everybody show up in cowboy boots and cowboy hats, or just jeans and a t-shirt. I don't care, but very casual, very comfortable, very outdoorsy. We're looking toward the end of September for this, so it'll be fun. We're looking for help. We're cooking all the food ourselves. Michelle has decided that we would save money and we would make money. We need to earn money to get ready for our 2026 election. So we're gonna try and save the money by doing it ourselves. So we're gonna do our own pulled pork. We're going to do our own macaroni and cheese. We're going to do our own chicken. We're going to do our own baked beans. We're going to do our own cornbread. So we've got different ways you can help. You want to help us cook? You want to help us cut up chicken? You want to help us bake chicken? You want to help us do whatever you want to do? Do you want to donate some? We are looking for donations of Jiffy cornbread mix, the little I remember when that stuff used to be a quarter. I don't know what it is now, but I know it's still the least expensive of everything. But any grocery store has Jiffy cornbread mix. So anybody that can drop off some boxes, either I'm here every Tuesday for the podcast. You're welcome to drop it off there. The door's open. You can walk in and drop it off. You can listen to the podcast if you want. That's fine. Or you can take it to a meeting, or you can call me and I'll come get it. But any Jiffy cornbread bread mix, we could use that. So we're going to make our own stuff. We're going to have the food. We're going to have finger desserts. I don't want to mess with plates and forks for that. So we'll have some sort of finger desserts, cookies or eclairs or something. And then we're going to have, we're trying to figure out how to do the liquor. If what we're hoping for is that we just buy a night coverage and then we just include the liquor. We include the beer and wine. I don't know about liquor, but beer and wine in the price of the ticket. So, and then soft other beverages, iced tea and soft drinks and things. So it's going to be a fun night. I think we'd also like to do some line dancing. Prior to that, I will offer some line dance lessons. I've done it for years, but line dance lessons, I'll try and find a place. We did our ballroom dancing ballroom dancing lessons at the American Legion 141, and it worked out perfectly. We invited the vets to join in with us, and I think we would do the same thing here. I will check and see if they would mind on a particular weeknight or something, that from say 6 to 8 or 6 to 8:30 we practice some line dance lessons there. That would be fun. So that way when we have our Reagan Day, some of us will already have some line dance stuff, but we can still offer some beginner stuff there too. But just Western theme. I don't know about, I'm looking into a couple of brief speakers, nothing huge, but just kind of brief and interesting speakers. We have some ideas, so we're looking into that. But that's going to be Reagan Day. Anybody that wants to help out with that, please reach out. I'm in. All right. Are you in? Greg, what are you in for? Are you in for square dancing? Are you in for line dancing? Are you in for cornbread donations? Are you going to roast a pig? What are you in for? Give me some details here. But we want all of you to come. We want you to come to these things. Let's see what else. We had our first, I want to congratulate the Statons on their first monthly breakfast. They are putting on the second Tuesday of the month at 9:00 at the very conservative All-Star Coney Island on Michigan Avenue in Grand River. They are hosting our breakfast, so we had a great breakfast turnout this morning, and it was great to sit down and pick on Bob Kittredge and get picked on by, well, maybe not get picked on, but yes, it was fun picking back. The whole deal. Greg's in the whole deal. All right, Greg, you let me know. You give me a call or give me a text or send me an email or whatever. Let me know what it is you want to do, and we'll make sure you're in. But anyway, we had such a good time at our parade, and we just keep doing things, and we just keep having a blast doing them. So I just super invite you. Come out, try it. Also, we're putting in our order for the shirt. So if anybody wants a shirt, they're $25. You tell me men's sizes from small all the way to 5X, and then women's sizes from small to 2X. They can be red or white, and they have the logo, the Livingston County logo on it. So, we're putting that order in, I think, tomorrow. So if you need, reach out tonight with what you want, and we'll make sure you get it. So we have Food Truck Friday coming up again, July 17th. That is in Pinckney. Again, a blast. So we have two different ways you can do that with us. If you have a business or you have something you want to showcase, whether it could be looking for donations for a charity, it could be selling something. I have my Bunny's Fabulous Seasoning tent right next to the Republican tent. So we're trying to look for Republican businesses and or business people to get their own little tent, their own booth. We'll let you know when we set up, and you can get your tent next to us or with us, and we have a blast doing that. We have chairs and a shady spot and a nice tent. The the membership video plays and people come over. The Statons always put out candy and pretzels and things. People come over and talk, and you just get to talk with a bunch of conservative people. We don't get booed. I know that the Democrats have a big tent there, and so the fact that we have a nice tent and it's nice looking, and it's nicely decorated. We once again thank Commissioner Frank Sample for everything he does for us. He sets those tents up for us, even put flower pots in front of them. So, I mean, it's decorated well. And then we have a bunch of decorations left over from our float that we'll be bringing to this next one. So it's outside. You can be casual. We're hoping to get our shirts. If we don't get our shirts, then okay, we don't. But if we're going to get our shirts, we'll be able to wear them, which will be nice. So that's coming up. What else is coming up? We are looking at putting together later this month, and I'm hoping by next Tuesday when I do the podcast, I'll have a date. But we have some Republican candidates in the city of Howell running for city council, running for the board of the tax review, and for maybe zoning. I don't remember zoning. Maybe. Anyway, we have 3 candidates running, and we're going to be I'm going to host a small little fundraiser, maybe an ice cream social for them later on in this month, hopefully at the end of July. And I'll let you know that next week. But please come to that. Any size donation, you get an ice cream, and get an ice cream sundae and take off. But I'll give you more details about that. But like I said, we're not asking for tons. City council race is a much smaller race, but still, they've got to buy signs, they've got to do mailings, they've got to do things. They need money for that. So anything you can do will help. But like I said, just show up, and we'll have 3 candidates there. You can help all 3 of them. You can help 2 of them. You can help 1 of them. However you do it, you just pay at the door. You write the check or checks to whoever you want. Give it to the person at the door, and then you're done. No questions asked about why you're supporting this one or that one. Just come on in and have a Sunday and talk to everybody. So that's coming up. What else? Reagan Day, Food Truck Friday. We also have a Food Truck Friday in August, the 3rd Friday in August. Now, this is from noon to 8 p.m. So we're always looking for volunteers. So that's July 17th, and then whatever the 3rd August is, the 3rd Friday in August. But you can come for 2 hours. You can come for 4 hours. I mean, obviously, some of us are there all 8 hours. But it's okay. We have such a good time. We enjoy it. We enjoy our time together. We enjoy everything. So it is fun, and I highly recommend everybody come and join in. You'll get to talk to people, and there's music that plays behind us, and there's food trucks everywhere, and the food was fantastic. Some of those trucks. So, I mean, there's other people there, so they'll cover you if you want to go walk around, and there's arts and crafts and things. If you want to walk around a little bit, that's fine too, but come and sit with us and kind of represent us. I mean, having a good showing at that tent, people see that and they come over and say, well, what's going on over here? Or, what can I do? Or how can I learn more about the party? We found some new members there last time, and they've come to a couple of our events since then. So this is a great way to get people involved, and this is a great way to get yourself involved. It's a fun, relaxing day. You don't have to come for 8 hours. If you can spare 2 hours anytime between noon and 8 o'clock on Friday, July 17th, please reach out. Actually, reach out to Joni Econom at volunteer@livingstonrepublicans.com. volunteer@livingstonrepublicans with an s.com. Reach out to her, and you can do that. So, all right. Most people know that I'm a trainer. I put on lots of trainings. One of the things that I do, and we did last year, and it was really successful, is I did basic trainings for how to run for an election. I don't do those for congressional candidates or gubernatorial candidates, a whole bunch more stuff. But for anything from a state rep on down to a library board member, this is a great launch. Even I had several longtime elected officials in my classes last year who told me afterwards, wow, I've run in a lot of elections and I still learned all kinds of stuff. So I cover a wide variety of stuff and I kind of get it done in about 3.5 hours. So I'm going to be putting it out to the rest of the state. I'm going to send a flyer to the other county chairs. I've seen, and this is what's kind of spurred me on. I saw a recent advertisement for candidate school or whatever for $100 a person, and I just thought to myself, wow, wow, 10 people in that class, and that trainer made $1,000, and I thought that's crazy. I mean it's not crazy. You have a right to earn money and that's good. But for me, I'm not looking to make a dime off. I'm not looking to make money off this. What I want is this. I learned something the last time in the classes, and that is that, you have a top-down voter expectation that people that vote for Trump will also vote down the ballot, right? The down ballot stuff. I know this, that if you get new candidates, especially first-time candidates, out on a ballot, they will reach voters who normally don't vote, their family, their friends. Every new candidate has family, friends, neighbors, people they went to school with, coworkers, people they're on the PTO with, or they coach football or whatever. They have people that don't normally vote. And when they are running and they go get their groups to vote for them, they will also tell those groups, you also vote for Tom Barrett. You also vote for whatever. You vote for the Republican candidates on the ballot, especially in the general. And what happens is you get a bunch of voters voting for those U.S. Senate and gubernatorial candidates that they normally would not have voted. They're only voting because their neighbor, their friend, their brother, their coworker, that person's on the ballot and they've been asked to come vote for that person. So while they're there, because that candidate is now going to have them vote for the rest of the Republicans, that's a bunch of votes that wouldn't have happened. And so it happened here that way in Livingston County. So in my mind, I could do that across the state. I could go around to the state and just do different counties and get a bunch of people. I had 40 plus people at my first one, and then another 25 new people after that. So we had a lot of new candidates last year. So if I can, let's just say that if I can go to the rest of the counties and I get, say, 70 counties out of the 83 that we have, I get 70 counties. And even if I get 25 people in each one running, look at all the people that are, even if I get 10 people running in each county, all the people that are going to be there voting, more, all their friends, all their family, all their people that they know, they go to school with, that's lots and lots of votes for, the U.S. Senate candidate, for the gubernatorial candidate that wouldn't normally be voting. This is important. So this is my contribution. I'm not going to charge $100 a person. I looked into it and I thought, you know what, if I charge $20 a person, and I am going to charge something, and not because, number one, I need my materials, my gas covered, okay? That's fine. But I'm not going to make money on this. But what I do want is I want some skin in the game. If you don't have some skin in the game, you're not going to, you might make a reservation and I got 20 reservations and I get out there and only 3 show up because nobody's paid anything. So I'm going to have PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, however, they're going to sign up, pay their $20 and I'm going to show up. And because they're $20, they're paid. I'm going to tell the counties, I don't want the counties paying me anything. They can just give me a place to do the training. If they can provide the space, that's fine. Refreshments would be nice too, but a space is all I really require. I'll bring materials and I'll get there on my own, but that's what I'm going to do. So if you are from another county and you would like your GOP, or if you would like something like this done in your county, again, chair@livingstonrepublicans.com. I'm looking forward to doing it. It's going to be, I have, just so you know, my trainings are fun, they're entertaining, we laugh, we talk, but we learn. And you will walk around having a mental checklist, we'll have a paper checklist, we'll have lists to do things. and we'll have a plan. You will have a plan, and you will know what you should do, what you shouldn't do. You won't waste your time doing things you shouldn't do, and you can spend your time, effectively getting yourself in a spot. But the most important thing we can do is we can educate people about what it takes. And I think it's just as important to talk to people who aren't sure, and it's just as important to tell them you're not ready because you don't have these things in line than it is to give them what they need once they are ready. Because a candidate that isn't ready will drop the ball 100 times by the time, we've all seen it. We've seen a candidate that started off with every intention on running and running hard, but then push came to shove and they just didn't get the job done because they weren't ready. So it's important for me to ensure that the people are ready. And here's the checklist, and I will give you a sneak preview. The first thing I tell people is your spouse behind you? If your spouse is not behind this, is not going to support you, is not supportive of your run for office, there's the door. Don't waste your time or mine any further. You need your spouse behind you. If your spouse is not behind you on this, and every candidate that I've ever worked with will tell you that's the first thing I said to them, or I asked them, is your spouse behind you? Because if not, I don't often see a candidate win. Matter of fact, I'm trying to be generous in case there was one, but I cannot recall a candidate that I know of. And I've seen many candidates run where they're, in this case, it was always wives that did not want their husband to do it, and they did not win. So, okay, that's the way it is. But if you're from another county and you think your GOP would like this, please reach out to me, and I will reach out, and I will come and do it. It's usually a weeknight. It's usually something like 5:30 to 8:30, maybe 5:30 to 9. And we knock it out right away. I don't mess around. I get right down to it, and we have a good time. We laugh, but we learn. And you walk away with tools that will really help your team with new candidates, especially, new candidates that have never done this before. But like I said, even candidates that have run before, they learn things. They won before, but maybe this will help. Maybe they've won 3, but now they're being challenged. So there's all kinds of things change all the time and new ideas come up. So I encourage anybody that wants that. Additionally, if there's something anywhere else, I'm a certified master trainer, so there's lots and lots of stuff I can train. So there's if in Livingston County you think you want a training of some sort, I know I'm going to be doing. I'm kind of putting together a curriculum for a training for, and I got to think of the right word, but for lack of a better one, activism. All right, activism is important. What can we do? What are things people could do? People don't understand the power they have, the power to get something done in Lansing, the power to get something done in the U.S. in Washington. People have power, the power to get somebody elected, the power to get somebody recalled. There's power in people have power. You don't have to be a powerful person to have power. It is important, but people don't understand what you have to do. And it doesn't take a lot of money or a lot of time or a lot of effort. Some things do. If you want to put a ballot proposal on, yep, that's a lot. It's about how much time and money that takes. It takes a lot. But if you just want to help convince somebody, a city council, to do something, to pass something or not to pass something, I'm going to be doing a training, and I will have people with me that have stood up to the city, that have stood up to the township, that has stood up to the state and said no. And we're going to see what they have to say and how they did it. So I'm kind of putting together a curriculum for that. So anyway, I'm going to take another quick break, and we're going to go on commercial here, and I will be right back, and we'll just talk a little bit more, and then we're going to call it a night. So let's do, where's our packages? There we go.
John Adams warned that the Constitution is wholly inadequate without a moral and religious people. As conservatives, we must reclaim the faith that shaped it, rooted in Jesus Christ and the Bible. To help you understand the historic Christianity that our country was founded on, check out theexaltedchrist.com, a resource website proclaiming Christ as King.
Bunny's Fabulous Seasoning is a fantastic new blend of herbs and vegetables made in Livingston County. Add a tablespoon to homemade breads, soups, stews, meat, poultry, vegetables, casseroles, sauces, and more. To order, email Bunny's Fabulous Seasoning at gmail.com or message the Bunny's Fabulous Seasoning Facebook page. It's time to divorce you or marry me chicken and take advantage of free delivery in and around Livingston County. Bunny's Fabulous Seasoning, the only seasoning you need.
Okay, we're back. Thanks a lot for that. All right, so again, if I'm not highlighting your comments, it's because I don't see them. So jump on over to Livingston Republican Party, on Facebook, and you can watch from there, and then I'll be able to see your stuff. But you can see, if I see your comment, that's where it's going to go right there. So I will try to highlight everybody's, not maybe the second you post it, but before too long. So I am having trouble with the camera. I need Rob to come out here and fix it because I was stupid and fell over it. So that's all there is to it. All right. Well, I think I've talked about everything on my list. If anybody else has anything they want to kind of discuss or ask questions about, this would be the time to chime in. I did talk about everything on my list, so I feel like we have such a great team. Maybe that's what I'm going to take a minute to do, to tell you about our team. Let me tell you about our team. We have Rob Rodriguez Pelzari, who's my vice chair. I could not ask for a better vice chair. He is handling some personal business right now, so he's kind of been a little bit absent, and I miss him terribly. But when he's engaged and involved, there's just nobody better. He's phenomenal. So he's great. We have Angela Yarber, who is our secretary, who is detailed and precise, gets the stuff done, and keeps me on task, which is important because I'm stretched and pulled in a million different directions, and I'm always looking at things from the 30-mile high view, and she's very, very detailed and precise, so she's terrific. So I'm thrilled with her. Jim Detling is our treasurer. He was our treasurer last year for Rob. He stayed. I'm so glad he did. He does everything by the book. Everything is, we get our reports, we get our finance reports, we get our budget reports. He's great. No trouble there. I think that's what happens with a lot of parties that get in trouble financially, is because their treasurer isn't on the money. I know years past we've had little bouts here and there where we had treasurer issues, but we don't right now. Boy, we've got a solid guy. We've got Alex Yarber, who's the chair of our finance committee, along with some other folks on our committee that do a great job of kind of watching what we're doing and budgeting and working with Jim to keep the budget going. We have Mike and Sharon Staton, who are in charge of membership, who are doing a bang-up job. They are just out there trying so hard. This is an off year, so it's a little bit more of a struggle, but we're getting our stride. We're bringing in more people. We're getting attention, which is what we need. And we're setting up for next year. And I think next year their efforts are going to start, whatever happens this year is what happens this year. But next year it's just going to be tripled and quadrupled because we'll really have caught our stride. We have Joni Econom, who is killing it as a volunteer coordinator. She got people to our parade. She gets people to go places and do things. And that's so important. We couldn't exist if we didn't have volunteers. And I will tell you, I have to thank personally um, Joni and Tom Econom and Norris Hardiman for being the stalwart uh, parade float builders. It's the four of us that have now built two parades together, or I'm sorry, two floats together. And this last one, we really outdid the first one. Was great. We had a great one. We put it all together. The men, Tom and Norris, very stereotypically, Tom and Norris did all the building, and Joni and Debbie came up with kind of, the creative stuff. And we had a great St. Patrick's Day parade float. Um, However, this year we got a different float, different trailer lent to us by Commissioner Frank Sample, again, who just comes to the rescue all the time, and also donated a bunch of like 12-foot 2x4 kind of things. They're just long, great, heavy pieces of wood that you can tell I'm not a builder. But these Tom and Norris brought their saws and screws and drills and things, and they put sides all down the side. I don't know if I have a picture of that or not, if I can get to it. But it was a great float, just a fantastic float. We had a kind of a blow up happy 4th of July in the middle with an eagle sitting on the top of it. We had a full length wood cut out of Trump in the back. And, we had people taking selfies with them. And I was up front singing, as I told you, God Bless the USA. We had candidate signs down the sign. We had red, white, and blue streamers and things. But so, I mean, this thing was amazing. So we had those. So Norris, Tom, and Joni are my float builders. However, we also had Lance Schumacher and Christian, his son. We had Candy Hovarder walking with us. We had Greg O'Neill with us. We had, yes, Greg O'Neill came. And Greg, who was it that came with you? I'm sorry, I'm old. I don't remember names. I apologize and move on. I don't feel bad about it anymore. I can't do it. I have to hear a name 3 times before I remember it. So Greg, somebody came with you. Please type their name so I can put it in there. But yes, it was well. Oh no, I know Dave. Wasn't there a female that came? So yes, Dave Roddy came. We had 2, Representative Wolford sent us 2 young supporters that worked Gregory with us. Who else was with us? We had Pat Carney was with us. We had Patty, yes, Patty O'Neill, yes. I said, who was with you, Greg? Dave Roddy. Okay. Patty O'Neill. We had Dave Roddy with us. Joni, Tom, myself. Who else walked? Ron Gallard. Ron Gallard was up front. He was our front man with that waving that flag. Norris was up there. So anyway, we just had lots of people come, and I'm sorry if I forgot somebody else. So if I forgot somebody else, let me know. But it was so much fun. Oh, Jay, I'm sorry. Jay, my husband Jay was there. He again donated $100 in order to. Well, first time he donated $300. And he rode with Frank in the Frank Sample. Commissioner Frank Sample again not only lent us the trailer, he also towed us in his truck and gave us the generator so we could blow up. So we had here we go. Jay's chiming in now. Yes, it was top notch. And there were lots of singing with the chair. Especially was the first GOP float in Gregory for the last 20 years or so, or maybe 30, and maybe the same for also Well, that wasn't apparently, Jay. All that stuff was memorable for you, but here's what Ron remembers. Jay put us up. Jay took us, some of us, whoever stuck around came to dinner afterwards. But we thank Jay for that. But I want to thank Commissioner Frank Sample. Any wonder why he's named the commissioner of he's named Republican of the Year this year? Nobody's questioning it. He told us, and I will tell you something. It was painful watching him tow. We set up the float in Pinckney, and we thank Mark Carney for the use of his old fire building. He also lent us the Trump cutout. We a sincere thanks to him for that. And then Frank lent us his trailer, and then we built it, and then he towed it at about 18 miles an hour all the way to Gregory. And especially painful was watching when the traffic, because we had Frank was towing the float, and then Tom Econom was in his car, and then I was in my car behind them, and we were just going 18 miles an hour, and it doesn't seem like it's not far from Pinckney to Gregory, but trust me, when you're going 18 miles an hour and having to pull over every time 10 cars back up behind you, yes, it takes forever to get there. And then, bless his heart, he and Jay towed that thing at 18 miles an hour from Gregory all the way to downtown Fowlerville. So, and parked it at the VFW float where everybody was starting. So it was quite the ordeal. So he basically gave up the day for us to do that. So yeah, it was a long day for him. He came to our rescue. So thank you, Commissioner Sample, for that. But we also, we had a great team working. So while I'm thanking them, I know I'm forgetting to thank people, and people. Oh, I want to give big thanks to Lisa R. Someday I'll learn how to pronounce her last name. I'm sure as soon as she just calls herself Lisa R now because we just gave up. And it's terrible because I've got a really long, very Polish maiden name, and I don't know why I can't say hers, but I have trouble with it. But Lisa R is terrific. She has taken over our fourth Thursday social, which I will talk about when I get the date and the place for that. But our fourth Thursday social, she's looking into the fourth Thursday in July now. But she's taken that on, and on top of that, she also organized our shirts. So those shirts that we're selling, she took that on, and she's doing all the ordering. So that just helps me because you can see I'm all over the place, and I'm kind of stretched thin, and I try to do everything I can. But when I have really competent people take on things, it helps me so much because it frees me up to get to this other stuff that only I can do. And they'll tell you, people that help out on my team, I don't micromanage. I get texts saying, "What do you think about this?" I think that's your decision. Go. So yeah, Patty, yeah, Greg, we're glad you and Patty came. We had a good time. And that's the other thing. I want to just make sure everybody knows we have a good time when we do these things. We laugh, we have fun, we enjoy. So I encourage anybody watching. So please, please, please send this podcast to anybody that is conservative, that is thinking about getting involved, that isn't sure whether they should get involved, isn't sure what to do. Will they fit in? You will. I promise you will. You will fit in. We'll find a place for you to feel comfortable. We're not going to put you in a place that you're uncomfortable, that's out of your comfort zone. We'll offer you lots of things, and what feels good, what works for you, and if it does, other things don't work for you, that's okay too. So real happy to have anybody new come along. We are doing good, we are building, but I know it's coming next year, so we got a lot of work next year. So we need members to fund the dollars, and we need other people that are comfortable walking doors or want to learn to walk doors or whatever. There's fun ways to do doors just like anything else. So if you're not comfortable doing doors or making calls, we're good with that. We can do things, but we can find a place for everybody here. Yes, Greg, you've just said it very well. The Republican Party is all inclusive. We talked about earlier what the Republicans were and what maybe I need to spend a little time on what we're not. We are not cult members. Matter of fact, we all think differently. We are not all in line or all in sync with things. We're not a cult. We don't all, I mean, we like what President Trump is doing. We like a lot of his stuff. Some people don't, they don't like everything. And you know what? Nobody makes a big deal of that. We don't care. If you don't like something he's doing, okay, we get it. You're allowed. We don't, you don't have to like every candidate or like what every candidate, every action that, even the candidates you like, you're allowed to dislike something they do. That's how this works. We're very much into individual thinking. I'd like to put it out there very strongly because you have no idea how sick and tired I am of seeing, reading, being told that we are homophobic and we don't like gay people, or we don't support gay people, or we think we think they need to be cured or whatever. This is not true. It is false. It is a lie. It is absolute garbage. We don't care. Most of us do not care what you do in your bedroom. If it's legal and consensual, go. What you wear, how you dress, what you decide, you want to wear makeup or don't want to makeup, either sex, I don't care, neither does anybody else. What we care about is that you care about the Constitution, you care about less taxes, you care about self-responsibility. As far as what sex you want to be or what sex you want to have, legal and consensual, here's what it's really important to us. Keep that away from your kids. And I don't mean homosexual sex. I mean all sex. All sex should stay away from kids. We don't care. We don't want adults teaching children in books, in schools, in libraries. Kids should be worried about sports and being an astronaut, or getting their homework done, or learning to read better, or running, or helping their family, or helping their friends, or whatever. They should not be worrying about sex. They shouldn't be reading about oral sex in a public library because any kid can get to that book. So this is what we feel. It is not liking sexual books to be given to kids, whether it's about straight sex or non-straight sex. It doesn't matter. We equally are upset with straight sex as we might be with non-straight sex. It isn't about non-straight sex. It's about sex. Any sex. It should not be described in a way in a book where a child can read it. This is what we firmly believe. So we don't want it. We don't want strippers, porn stars, drag queens. It is not that we don't like strippers, we don't like porn stars, and we don't like drag queens. They're fine. They all have a right to live in our world. We don't want them around the children. Why? Because it promotes sex. And it's not that sex is bad. It's just sex should be for adults. It's illegal to have sex with a child. Why are we showing sex to a child? And why are we allowing children to look at it or to be discussed or whatever? Because kids start to see that stuff and then they start to get curious, and pretty soon things happen that they shouldn't. They should be thinking about their Little League. They should be thinking about their Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts. They shouldn't what? Michael Sims says they shouldn't what? Be specific there. They shouldn't. Are you agreeing with me that they shouldn't be seeing it? Or when I say they shouldn't, I guess be a little more specific if you would. So they shouldn't be looking at sex. I'm hoping that's what you're agreeing with. They should be worrying about like I said, their Little League. They should be worrying about whether or not who's going to come to their birthday party. They should be worrying about you're not okay with who? With homosexuals? Huh. Well, here's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to tell you what to be okay with or not to be okay with. It's not what Republicans do. But what I'm saying is individuals on both sides have a right to their opinions about whether or not, drag queens and trans, yes. That's fine. You're allowed to have, Michael, you're giving me four little pieces. I'm having a hard time keeping up here. So you're not, it's here that, they shouldn't have a right to live in our world. You're not okay with drag queens, trans, etc. Okay, your choice. That's up to you. What I'm saying is at a party, we do not feel that way. I don't go see porn queens or trans or I don't go there, but I don't want to step on your right if that's what you want. The in your bedroom has failed for decades. Time for the right to move on. Again, cryptic. I don't understand what you're saying, Michael. So, anyway, the point is our party does not pick on homosexuals. We don't. Most of us, I mean, there's individuals on the Democrats and there's individuals in the Republicans that don't believe in it. Okay, that's their right to do. Again, we don't believe in telling people what they have a right to want to do. But as a party, we do not attack that. We do attack when it has to protect our kids. We don't want the drag queens in with the kids. We don't want sexual books in with the kids. If you're an adult and you are a drag queen, that's your deal. That's you're able to do that. And adults that think that's fun to go see or to go play porn or a drag queen bingo or whatever it is they do, that's their right. That is absolutely their right. And while individuals may or may not support that, the party doesn't not support it. We may or may not go, but we just don't want it near our kids. So I get tired of if we say we don't want sex around a kid in a book or whatnot, having that be because we don't. Well, that's because the Republican Party doesn't like homosexuals. That is not true. Many of us have many friends that are homosexuals, and it's just fine. It's their right, and we respect personal and individual rights. Okay, let's see. Here we go. What values does the party actually have? Well, Michael, that was like an hour and a half ago that we started that discussion. We have the Republican Party. Once again, I'm just going to be very quick because I've already covered this tonight. Is we believe in less government. We believe in personal responsibility, individual rights, the Constitution, and we believe in lower taxes, and we are pro free market. That is what the Republican Party is. I don't know where any of this is coming from, Michael, so we're just gonna I'm not dealing with that. That's just nuts. I don't know where this is coming from. So, Michael, I don't know who you are or whatever, but it sounds like you want to pick a fight, and I'm not. I have no interest in fighting you. We have Gregory. You've said it correctly. Let children be children, and that's what's important. We need to let the children be children, and we don't want not wanting sexual books around kids doesn't mean we are homophobic, and it doesn't mean we're prudes, or it doesn't mean a lot of things. So, just that's what we believe. So. That's what I just want to make that clear. The Republican Party in and of itself does not fight we're not homophobic. We're not misogynistic either. We don't believe women should we don't believe women are incapable, obviously. We don't believe women are incapable, and we hire and support women the same way we support men. So we don't have that either. We are not racist. We have all colors in our party too. We tend to not areas in that are highly diverse in the urban areas tend to be Democrat. So the comment tends to be they tend to be Democrat. So it easily gets painted that we're racist. That's not true. All right, here we go. Sorry, it's the Republican Party. It's reality. The Republican never wants to talk about actual policy. You shut it down when it comes up and repeat empty decades-old tropes about capitalism and what you do in your bedroom. I'll stop commenting, but let's be real. Good night. That's the biggest bunch of garbage I've read tonight. So we've had, I have been on every single podcast on here, and we've talked about lots of policy, actual policy. I don't talk about hatred, though. I don't talk about, if you don't care about porn or trans, that's not something I care whether you care. You can care or you don't have to care. That's okay. But we talk about lots of policy. We've covered some heavy duty stuff here. We have great candidates. So if you don't like what we talk about, then that's your right too. But I don't think you need to tell me what we don't do, since you've not been at every one of these podcasts and I have. So we talk about lots and lots of stuff. We've had 20,000, we're over 20,000 views in just a few months. So somewhere along the line, I think we're doing okay. Anyway, so if there's something you want to talk about, that's fine. You just need to let me know and we can go from there. But that's not the way to do it. To come in and bash something. Why does our right-wing party not have a stance on people pretending they're another gender? Because they're scared. Well, that's interesting that you said that. I'm not scared. I don't have a stance because our party believes in personal rights. We support that. As soon as we start telling people what they need to do in their bedroom, we might as well. Michael, are you a Democrat? I mean, everything you said is all Democrat. Let's tell them what they can do. Let's tell them what they can be. Let's tell them how they can act. I don't want to have to. I'm not forced to use anybody else's pronouns, and I'm good with that. But I don't care. I mean, they're right. People have rights. That's what our Constitution's about. And our party does. Our right-wing party does support the Constitution. And they have rights. If they want to, here's a stance. You want a stance on people pretending they're another gender? They can pretend if they want to. They can wear a dress. They can wear pants. They can bind their boobs. They can let them go. They can stuff their pants. They can do whatever they want to do. They can't not force me to accept it. They cannot force me to believe it. They cannot force you to believe it. But they can do it if they want to. No, we are not. That went away. Here we go. Let's do this. No, we are not forced to use pronouns in the world. No. That went away with President Trump. That got signed off. There are only 2 pronouns legally now. He and she. That's it. There are 2 sexes. Those pronouns are no longer being forced to use. And that's the point. We do not care if they dress in a dress or they don't dress in a dress. What we care about is that we don't want to be forced to believe that they are a female when they're not. No, you wouldn't. Oh, if you did, you'd have a wonderful lawsuit, because that has been outlawed. So it's gone. Goodbye. But I will tell you something. This is also, this is great. This is terrific. I'm really, really glad you're doing this. Let me tell you why. Because we just talked about what happens when somebody decides, oh, this guy's a rhino, this Republican's a rhino, I'm not supporting him, and the Dems win. This is what you get right here. That's what becomes reality. When you start fighting the Republicans, this is what happens. So their rights end at my nose. Yes, that's it. I mean, you don't have to have monies for lawsuits. Anyway, this is getting silly now. Their rights end at my nose, and that's it. If you want to have, you have the right to wear whatever you want to write. We believe in personal rights. I'm not going to be forced to buy into them, though, and neither are you. And the people that choose to buy into them, they can buy into them. All right, Michael, now you're just being silly. So it would be if you ever want to have a real discussion, I'm okay, but you're just fighting now. You got a bone to pick and you're just fighting, and I'm not doing that. So, but you want a firm stance. Here's your firm stance. You don't like the firm stance. What you apparently want is to be the person that we're being accused of being. I don't think they should be allowed to. You don't get to dictate what other people want. If they want to dress how they want, that's fine. It is legal to dress how you want to dress. It is not legal now to force me to accept it. An actual capable right-wing person on your podcast. And who are you referring to? This podcast is not to fight with Republicans. This podcast is to get a Republican's point of view out. It's to get what happens in a Republican back room, or in a Republican front room, or in a Republican room out, because the media doesn't. This is not for people that want their idea of what a Republican is to be forced down anybody else's throat. So if you're thinking that you're going to determine, or that you know somebody that wants to determine what an actual, see, you use the word actual right-wing person. That is an issue, because you've suddenly made one single definition of what an actual right-wing is. Where does the Republican conversation take place? No, it is not oh, there we go, swamp Republicans. The Republican conversation always takes place respectfully within Republicans. But when it starts becoming my way is the only way, that conversation ends. At least it does here. So we respect everybody else's opinion. Again, personal rights, but you don't have the right to dictate what anybody else believes. And if as a party, nobody's taking a position. We take a position that we don't want sex shoved down kids' throat, but we don't take a position whether Joe Blow wants to dress like Mary Blow. That's just not worth anybody's time. What we don't want to do is be forced to recognize Joe as Mary. If we want to, we can. If we don't want to, we don't have to. And there is no longer a problem. So when you use words like swamp Republicans, that's you attacking another Republican. So is the definition of a swamp Republican a Republican that doesn't agree with you? Is that what you're saying? We have lots of Republican conversations. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't, but we don't dictate somebody as bad or swamp because we disagree with them. So that's just silly. All right. Anyway, so I think we pretty much covered everything today, unless anybody else has something they want to talk about. I didn't say what right wing is, but the right wing positions of today are clearly left wing positions yesterday. You can have your opinion. Nobody's okay. So, Michael, I'm going to say it one more time, and I just don't want to argue with you, because you've decided what is right. You've decided that there's one truth and there's one right, and that you know it. And frankly, I don't wish to try to convince you otherwise. When people are so set in their beliefs that they don't open their mind to other things, then it's a waste of time to even tell you. But I can't dictate what right wing. I didn't say you couldn't dictate what right wing is. To you, right wing means one thing. To other people, right wing may mean another. What I'm saying is you're dictating as though there's one correct Republican belief. That is untrue. Republicans actually believe in self-sufficiency, less government, lower taxes, pro-business. That is what a Republican is. Whether or not you dress this way or that way does not fit that. That's a fringe issue. That's a social issue. That is not something that belongs in that does not depend on a Republican. It doesn't mean you're not Republican if you believe you dress this way or that way. It doesn't mean that at all. So you just like to see if I would speak with somebody who wasn't a sycophant. Oh my God. You've labeled, I've got a whole bunch of labels here from you, Michael. I don't know where you come from or what it is you do, but wow, of course we do. We have individual moral opinions or stances. They're not collective, and they're not believe my way or get out, which is what you're promoting. You're promoting that if you don't believe your way, if we don't believe your way, we're not real Republicans, we're not real right wing, we're swamp, we're rhinos, we're we're sycophants. We are all kinds of things, and that's not at all that's not where I'm going. I will not do that, and I feel it's foolish to do that because that's what divides our party. So it is more important to me that Republicans have individual rights and individual stances. That's what the Constitution gives us. Anything that you're trying to state is your way or the highway. It's you believe my way or you don't. You're not a real Republican. I vote for the people you ask me to every election. No, you vote in your primary. You vote any way you want to, don't you? You vote anyway. You vote for whoever you want to in a primary. And the only time I ask you to vote a Republican is when there's only one Republican candidate to vote for. I ask you not to stay home. But I don't ask you to like every single thing or believe. Nobody believes every single thing everybody else does. So there's just no way we don't fall in line. No, he's saying it the other way around. He's saying that, I think he's saying the Republicans of yesterday are really Democrats now. That's not at all true. Not at all true. But again, I would never believe somebody that believed in fiscal responsibility and less government, lower taxes, and pro-business, and pro-constitution. I would never, ever, ever call them anything other than a Republican. Now, there are Republicans that believe more strongly in other things than others, and some of them go farther right, some of them go more middle, but that doesn't mean they're not Republicans. But right wing. No, I don't think anybody said that at all. You don't mean Republican per se, but right wing. Well, do we define right? I don't know how you define right wing. You can define right wing any way you want. I don't claim to be right wing. I claim to be Republican. And has that worked out? Again, you'd have to ask somebody that believes that they're right wing. I don't even like the term right wing. I call myself a Republican for a reason. I think being a Republican is everything I want to be. I don't know that right. What is the difference? I challenge you without calling anybody a name. Yeah, define right wing. What do you mean by right wing? Try and do it without calling somebody a name or giving somebody a label, a negative label, because you think they disagree. But define right wing. Does that mean Republican on steroids? Does it mean Republican plus moral judgments or social judgments? And who are you to decide that? I mean, we have laws. If you don't break a law, you don't break a law. Okay, it's synonymous, really. No, not the way you talk about it. I don't want to conflate the Republican machine with the right-wing individual. There's another title. There's another label, machine. With the right wing is individual, where the Republican's a machine. Well, I'm a Republican individual, Michael. I don't know where you're getting this stuff from, but I think I'd love to look into your history and figure out exactly who frosted you, who went in your Wheaties, because something. No, I don't think we do. I don't think we use the average. I was asking you for a definition, really. I wasn't asking what the average person thought, but I was also asking you to see if you can do one without a label, and it doesn't look like you can. So it looks like you claim Republicans as weak and immoral and won't take a stance, and you're sounding a lot like a Democrat when you do it. This is not. I would differ, and I would stand up to say that a Republican is one that respects the individual rights and follows the Constitution. Less government, less taxes. Exactly. So that is what we are. That's a Republican. So that's I'm going to stick with that one. So I have no interest in debating a right wing or versus Republican, because this is not a right wing show. This is a Republican show. So this is called The Right Side. And it's really it offers an opportunity to get the side out that the media won't. Thanks, Tracy, for being on. You're further right than anyone I likely know. but I'm a Democrat. You know, that's really interesting because what you're saying is you're saying the same things about Republicans that the Democrats are. So that's what I'm saying. You don't know. You might be further right than anyone I know, but you're saying you're not asking legitimate questions. What you're doing is asking the fight. Well, it depends on the individual liberty, Gregory. I believe it means if you believe like Michael believes, then you're right wing. If not, you're a sycophant or whatever. So anyway, I don't think they're legitimate questions, Michael. I think they're looking for a fight. So anyway, so I think we've covered everything we're going to cover tonight. I I'm a little bit frustrated here because I didn't want to fight with anybody, especially someone that claims they're a Republican. Michael, you ever have a lot of real questions where you don't want to you don't want to do labels, or you don't want to just fight with somebody because somebody went in your Wheaties? You can always reach out to me at chair at Livingston Republicans. That's not chair at Livingston Right Wing. It's chair at livingstonrepublicans.com. You can get a hold of me, and I'll meet you for coffee someday, or you can come down here and we'll talk. And I'll answer whatever questions I can. But understand this: in this party, we believe in individual rights. We do not all march to the beat of one drum. We all have different beliefs and on things like that. There's nothing that says you have to like or dislike any social issue to be a Republican. So you may stop. Good. That would be fine. We'd love that. But we have a rule about our meetings, Michael. You should know this rule. And the rule is this: everybody's welcome at the table, but you'll need to leave your drama at the door. So that's something. You want to leave your drama at the door and just have a meeting or have a discussion? I would love to have that. No drama. Anyway, all right. Good night, everybody. Have a great night. Remember that next Tuesday we have Representative Gina Johnson coming on the show, just kind of talking about what's going on legislatively. She's always got some really good ideas. So she'll be coming on to talk, and we'll have more about our Howell our Howell City fundraisers, and we'll be able to announce that next week. So good night. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in.